Hello, this is Sonja from My Happy Space. Welcome back at my channel. Today we're going to do another entry in my faith journal. This is my latest Etsy printable, which you get the bundle and then you can put this whole faith bundle or junk journal, scripted journal together. And I've got a video to show how I'm doing, how I did that. And I've got another video about my first entry. So today we're going to look at another prompt. And I was thinking of doing the prompt where I am going to document my testimony. And I think it is so important to tell people about your testimony. And as I was typing out my testimony, I had such wonderful feelings of looking back over my life and see how faithful the Lord is and what journey He took me on. And I've written it in a type of style. Hopefully my kids will enjoy it. Went in a little more details and told them about everything from my beginning till I'm halfway through. I haven't even finished it yet because I really got so caught up on it. It was almost like writing a story, my story. So I really recommend you to do something like that. Just leave a document of how you became a Christian, the detailed version for your family and your children. I think it will be a wonderful legacy. So anyway, so that's what we're going to do today. So I was thinking, this is my entry last week. I was thinking to make a tag, a mixed media type of tag with a collage, but I'm going to use watercolor paper because I want to sort of have a nice way of holding the water and the distress oxide inks, and then I'm going to just back it with other paper at the back, and then I'm going to actually I can make a tag which got a little pocket inside, so I can fold up my testimony and I can put it inside there. So this is what we're going to do. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and let's put this together. Unfortunately, my mixed media tag didn't turn out so much mixed media because I lent my stencil to someone. I forgot to get it back. So when I was putting everything together and I was looking for my stencils, I couldn't find it. And secondly of all, I forgot to put the camera on when I recorded it, the painting. But what I'm doing now is I'm just using my watercoloring paint and I'm just putting sort of layers, probably not the amber effects because I've got yellow in between the pinks and things like that, trying to use the colors of the devotional or the faith journal rather, so I can create my tag with it. Obviously my tag is not going to be as big as this paper. It needs to fit in my scripted journal, my faith journal. And I've decided to mute it a little bit down by using white paint, just acrylic paint, just to sort of mute it. As I said, it was a little bit too busy for me. Would have worked well if I had a stencil. I could have put a stencil pattern on there. Yeah, it's amazing when you have something like that. You miss it so much when you don't have it. As I said, a beautiful stencil pattern with white acrylic paint or even gesso would have been lovely, or texture paint actually, that would have been better. So I'm just trying to do the best I can. It turned out still nicely. So while you watch me doing all these things, I'm just going to use some stamps, also put it on there. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my faith journey. I think we all have turning points or key moments in our life. And as I look through my life and I was sort of typing it up, I realized that there is a few key moments in my life. Obviously, I was born in a Christian home, or my mom was a Christian. Yes, the one thing I can remember of my mom is she always would dedicating to doing a Bible study, praying. I often came into a room on her knees, praying for people, praying for us. And her faith really made an impact in my life. It was real. I could see it. And that is why when I was 12 years old, I went to a camp, a Christian camp, and I became a Christian. Although it was a young girl that led me to the Lord, my mom was the one who did all the watering and all the sowing and planting. And yeah, she's the one who laid down the foundation. So that was one of my key moments. I was on fire for the Lord during my high school years, but I always had this feeling of I have to earn my faith and my sort of salvation. I never felt like I'm good enough for the Lord just to accept me. I just had this sort of feeling that I need to earn my salvation or my sort of favor for the Lord. So after school, I decided to go and travel overseas, and I didn't really grow my faith. I went far from the Lord at that stage, didn't do anything which I regret, by the grace of God, and I think by the prayers of my mom. And then I went studying and I got very involved in missions, and I decided to do mission work over a year outreach in Belgium to do mission work. And there I grew tremendously in my faith. That was another turning point. We had a wonderful sort of mom and dad that looked after us, and they were a wonderful, godly couple. And on the first day of our time there in Belgium, we had a wonderful Bible study. And we had a Bible study about our security and our sort of security in our faith and our salvation. And that was exactly what I needed on that day. And the penny dropped. And that day I realized that nothing that I can do can make God love me more or less. I am His child. I'm sealed by the Holy Spirit. I belong to Him, and I'm safely tucked in His arms. And yes, there is definitely blessing in obedience, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to please God, but I don't have to please Him because I win His favor. I'm already have His favor. So that was a wonderful time for me in Belgium. During my young adult years, I grew also a lot. Just waited patiently for my husband to come along. God blessed me with an amazing godly husband who also did mission work. He did mission work in South Africa again, and then hence that's sort of the connection we had. And yeah, it was just a wonderful journey of being a young couple, having children, and but I was mature in my faith, and I definitely grew. But the Lord still had lots for me to be taught. I was still sort of sometimes superficial. The things of the world was still important to me, and things like that. So the Lord still had a journey for me to go on. So after that, we moved back to South Africa after 10 years living in England. And South Africa is a tough country. You need to look after yourself. There's no safety nets, no government that's going to look after you. And we went through very tough times financially here in South Africa. Lots of times my husband's been retrenched, lots of financial difficulties. Sometimes we hardly had money to buy food. It was really a humbling time, but it was very good for me to go through it because I really understood what was important in life. God humbled me, and I was much more softer and kinder to people in difficult situations after I went through that. Another turning point in my life was I started doing precepts, which is a sort of an inductive Bible study method, and my faith grew tremendously doing that. I mean, the Bible just became open for me, and it became real. And this was really such a turning point in my life doing this inductive Bible study. So that is just another turning point in my life. And then when my mom died 4 years ago, it was also a turning point in my life, just to know that she's with the Lord, and that there's nobody praying now anymore for my kids or myself or my family. I'm the one who need to take that beacon over. Obviously, I did pray, but now I need to take responsibility for my family's faith, praying for them and being the person there. And I also started listening to a pastor, my favorite pastor, John Corson. Um, I started listening to him. I actually went to Israel, and I was interested in sort of the end time prophecies and just sort of more detail, what does the Bible have to say about Israel. And I started listening to him, and that was also a turning point in my life. He is an absolutely amazing, amazing pastor, and his teachings is absolutely amazing, and I grew so much since I've started listening to him and just grow my faith. So yeah, this is sort of my journey with the Lord in a nutshell. There's obviously lots more. This is just the eagles fly over. So as I said, I really recommend you to write it down, go into detail, because one day when you're not there, it will be such a wonderful treasure for your children and for your husband and your grandchildren to have, to see what is your faith journey. So in the meantime, I hope you followed what I did on the screen. Now I'm just making the back side of this tag, and as you can see, I just filled the other side, which was white, just filled in with a rectangular piece of paper there at the side. It doesn't have to cover the whole page because nobody will see it. And I'm just gluing it on the sides where obviously the pocket is not supposed to be. And I've made a half circle there just to show that obviously something's going to be in there. I've actually just, as I say, typed up the first half of my faith journey. So the second half I'm still going to do, because as I said, I got so carried away by typing it up. I almost wrote a book. So not totally, but it felt to me like that. Now I'm just going to make a collage here on top of my tag. So just by using some of my printables. So I think my last point of my faith journey at the moment is my life at the moment. I think since I started doing Bible journaling, my faith have also grown quite a lot. Although sometimes Bible journaling is very much looking at verses and putting pretty things on paper. It is definitely to me a constant way of being in the Bible. It's definitely not my main Bible study, my sort of real study of the Word of God I do in different times. But it is often just a way to be in the Bible, constantly looking up verses, especially if you do word studies or you do a little bit more sort of more deeper Bible studies, Bible journaling Bible studies. So it really grown my faith, and also since I've obviously started my YouTube channel and writing devotionals, to me that is absolutely, sometimes you just find something that you are made for. To me, this is just one of the things I think God created me. I just love writing devotionals. I love writing, um, uh, put them together, being a blessing to the community. To me, that is just one of the most wonderful things that I can do. And as I said, sometimes you get to a point in your life and you just know this is what I was made for. This is the good works that God has for me long in advance. And yeah, I just felt that is that's such a privilege for me to be at this point that I can do it. And yeah, I enjoy it so very much. So this is probably the last part of my faith journey. So as you can see, I have put my testimony with my die cuts, which you've watched me do, on top of that, and I finished my collage. And now I'm just going to put a little pom-pom trim there at the bottom, which probably wasn't the cleverest or the wisest thing to do, because I wanted to put it in a pocket in my faith journal, but unfortunately with this pom-pom, everything was bulking. You couldn't do it. So I had to decide to do it in a different way. You will see in a moment how I was going to do it. So yeah, I love this little pom-pom. Sorry, it's a little bit off camera, but you will see it in a minute. And now I'm just putting the same ribbon which I've used for my enclosure. I'm just going to make a little topper there at the top. This is, I won't say it's the best ribbon to make bows with. It is sometimes a bit stiff, but I think it did the trick. So yeah, now I'm going to put it in my faith journal. I'm just deciding where I'm going to put it. There was my first entry. And I've decided I'm just going to do it actually on page number 1. Because this is the first prompt. Just a reminder, if you want to pick up the prompt list, I will link it down below here again if you want to pick up the free prompt list and just do your own thing. Otherwise, the prompt list is also part of the printable. So here it is where I decide I'm going to make a belly band just to put it across there for it to be safely tucked in there. I'm just putting the number 1 also on there just to show that this is prompt number 1. I nearly forgot to do that, but that's a good reminder to do that. So obviously you know what prompt goes with what entry, and this is the belly band I did. Here is the first part of my faith journey. So I'm just folding that up. As I said, I'm definitely going to tap up the rest and put that in also, but that's a nice thing of making a pocket. You can sort of tuck it in later, and you can add as the years goes on. Hopefully, if the Lord doesn't come back, I will be I have some more journeys and more things that the Lord is doing in my life to put in there, because He's always working and life is always moving on if you stay close to Him and you allow Him to work in your life. So this concludes my intro. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this. I'm just going to pop there at the top there what I've done and decorate that a little bit. As I said, this bundle is available on my Etsy shop. I will link that obviously down below if you're interested in picking that up and putting it together. If you want to see how I've put it together, remember to watch that video. I'll definitely leave it down below. So if you have any turning points in your life, in your faith journey, I'd love to hear from you. Pop it down below if you feel comfortable. So if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider so. I'd really appreciate it. You must have a fantastic weekend. And thanks very much for watching. I'm leaving you with some close-up photos. Lots of love. Bye-bye.